In this video, we go over your true effective budget and explain to you why premium price players have such a strain on your side and their overall effectiveness. All of that coming up next. What the flock is going on? Welcome back to the FPL Today YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me on this video where we discuss your budget and how you can actually utilize it best. Hopefully we'll explain to you why so many people are going big at the back and why free premiums may not be the most cost effective. But before we do that, do check out partners of the channel, Fantasy Football Hub, top link in the description down below, for articles from some of the best fantasy football managers in the world, as well as fixture tickers and OPTA stats. And let's get straight into it. Now, there's going to be a bit of maths here, so if maths ain't your thing, then you may struggle to follow along, but I'll do my best to put this in as layman terms as possible. We all have, at the beginning of the game, 100 million to spend, but that 100 million is based on the fact that you have absolutely no players. Imagine being a manager taking a job at a new club and you had no one to sign. Whereas imagine you had a team of players and you had to improve it. It's probably better to look at your team with that second latter mindset than the first. On the screen, you can see the cheapest team you could possibly build in the game and be able to score points. As you can see, you would have 7 £4 million goalkeepers and defenders and 8 £4.5 million midfielders and forwards. That gives you an effective budget of 36 million because you are taking 72 million off of that £100 million budget just to have 15 players. What that means is the likes of your £4 million defender effectively is pretty much free, whereas your premium price players like your Mohamed Salahs actually are costing you a significant chunk of that 36 million. So that does mean we can look at the prices a little bit differently. We can actually look at players like Sanchez from Brighton as only costing us realistically 0.5 million. Mean the likes of Mendy only really cost 1 million out of your 36 million pound budget. Likes of Tomiyasu are also the same strain on your effective budget, whereas defenders who do score well in the Premier League, like Robertson, Trent and Cancelo, all cost 3 million or 3.5. Now compare the fact that Trent and Cancelo were two of the highest scoring players in the game last season to other highest scoring players like Son and Salah, and Son and Salah actually cost you 8.5 million and 7.5 million a piece to upgrade from your 4.5 million pound midfielder. It does make players like Jesus and Saka look particularly promising at 3.5 million of your effective budget, and players like Undav and Neto are only 1 million of your effective budget. But what this does also mean is, and it might actually change my strategy for this season, is team value, and increasing your team value can have a massive effect on your side. Now, I know that makes sense, even just saying it without going into effective budget. However, as soon as you gain 1 million in your total budget, you can go and upgrade a Tomiyasu to a 5.5 million pound. But what that does mean is as soon as you gain 1 million in team value, you can take a player like Tomiyasu and upgrade him to a player that's 1.5 million pounds over the lower bracket 4 million pound defender. And 1 million pound of total team value, actually, when you look at your effective budget, is suddenly a much bigger increase, because £1 million extra on 100 million is not as impressive as 1 million extra on top of 36 million, which is your actual effective budget. So once you've got £5 million extra, you can go and upgrade your Tomiyasu to someone that's £1.5 million over the £4 million price. You can go and upgrade your Saka to a player that's £4.5 million over the budget of £4.5 million for the minimum price midfielder, and you start to see how that effective budget can change your side. If we actually look at the percentage of your effective budget that these players take up, we can see that the likes of Salah and Son take up a significant amount of that budget. Overall, they take up 45% of my effective team value. Meanwhile, the likes of Trent, Robertson and Cancelo take up 10% and 8% for both Robertson and Cancelo. That's only 26% of my side, and overall Trent, Robertson and Cancelo are likely to not score that significantly under Son and Salah. If we add the likes of Ivan Perisic, Reece James, Ben Chilwell, and they can score similar to the likes of Cancelo, we've actually got players out of your percentage of your effective budget can match the big hitters and the big premium price players. Now, as the season goes on and your team value hopefully does increase as long as you're making good and effective decisions, you could actually get to a point where free premiums makes a lot more sense and they take up less of that effective budget in total. And that's why I think generally, as time has gone in fantasy football, players have gone from big in midfield and up front to slowly big at the back. And then during the season, you will see the trend shift to more premium players up front as we can upgrade the likes of Jesus with the team value up to someone better. Potentially your Ronaldinhos and Vardys. And then maybe if you've made enough money team value wise, up to your Haalands and Kanes. Of course, their price is going to rise as well at the same time. But it does mean that for me, I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to team value and how I can build that, as well as having an effective point scoring team. Hopefully this video has helped you out with understanding this concept, because I do think looking at it this way will help you make sensible decisions as you're building your side. Because if I'd gone and got Salah and Son, and then also an Erling Haaland, who I believe takes up 19% of my overall effective budget, we would then be looking at 64% of my effective budget being used on only 3 players. That leaves 36%, and 36 seems to be the magic number, of my effective team value to be spent on, if I have as cheap a bench as possible, the remaining 8 players in my starting 11. So I think looking at it this way, I'm pretty confident I am not going into the start of the Fantasy Premier League season with 3 premium players, because I think that's just too much of my money and too much of my cards in 3 players when there's plenty of value at the back, and the likes of Saka and Jesus only taking up 10% of my effective budget. There's options elsewhere in sides that I do hope to be successful at the beginning of this Premier League season. And of course, if it all goes wrong, we have that extra wild card that I can use around the game week 8 period to try and reset and get as many points before the World Cup. So who knows, 8 weeks in, this could all go out the window. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do consider hitting that like button, subscribing and hitting that notification bell. All those things seriously help out the channel and it's always greatly appreciated. And do check out Fantasy Football Hub. Signing up with them does also help support the channel. So thank you if you do go and check them out. I've been JNO. This has been FPL Today. And remember, it's all about the game.